Hello and welcome to this webinar presented by Mozzaik and Adepteq. So my name is Knut Relbemoe and I'm here representing Mozzaik, and I'm here together with Ian Lohman from Adepteq. Welcome, Ian.
So thanks everyone for joining us. Um, we're here for the webinar today, AI in the digital workplace, how to integrate and maximize its impact. So this event is being recorded and we'll send out the recording to people shortly afterwards. So we've got a chat area here where you can send your questions and we'll try and answer them all at the end of the session rather than as we go along, if that's okay. So my name's Ian Lohman. I work for Adepteq. If you can move the slide on, please, Knut. So the agenda today is, well, a little bit about us. What are the latest trends in AI and how they impact? So we've got a good stat pack for you. What are the best practices for secure and compliant AI? Enhancing the employee experience with AI-powered tools, which is one of the big things that's happening at the moment. We'll then have a live demo of the Mozzaik product, because I'm sure some of you have seen Copilot already from Microsoft, so it'll be good to see one of the alternatives that's available out there as well. And then we'll have a Q&A session. So next slide, please. So who are Adepteq? Well, we're experts in Microsoft 365. So as a Microsoft solutions partner for modern work, we focus on everything in the M365 bundle. So especially SharePoint and Teams. Now, because of that, AI is really important because it's very much in that productivity workspace and the collaborative workspace that we're very much focused on as well. So it's really important to our clients, which is why we've put this webinar together today with our partners, Mozzaik. I'll hand over to Knut now. We'll talk to you a bit about who Mozzaik are.
Yes, thank you so much, Ian. And yeah, Knut Relbemoe is my name, and I work for Mozzaik365, which is a multi-vendor from an ISV from France. We have the headquarters in Paris, and we are just about to open our North American subsidiary now in 2025, and we are excited to be here together with our partners in the UK, Adepteq, and of course with Ian as well here. So and we have a global footprint, but more importantly is that we kind of enhance the experience that you are so used to already from the Microsoft 365 environment that they're using already today. You're paying a license there, but then of course there are all these possibilities to take that a step further, and that's where Mozzaik come in place with multiple tools for that. But of course today's topic is all about AI and how AI can help you and your colleagues in your workplace, basically. So to kind of give you some numbers first, because AI have been here for some time already. It didn't come yesterday. It didn't come last year with Copilot. A lot of people have already used AI for quite some time in their workplace. And of course, there are a lot of people that is using their own tools when it comes to AI that is not Genius, that is not Copilot, but there are other tools that the IT might not even be aware of. And of course, that's a huge challenge when it comes to having control over where your data is actually being sent and transformed in a sense. Because of course, if you use an AI tool, a lot of times you are copying in a text and pasting a text in there that might be sensitive. So are you really aware of where that text is stored, or if it's stored at all? So I think these numbers here that you can see on the screen, that 78% of AI users bring their own AI tools to work. So that means that 22% is using the AI tool that the workplace is providing for them. And that's of course of people that are using AI when it comes to their company and so on, and the usage. And of course, another great statistic here is that 75% of people are ready to use AI at work. So there's a lot of people that are maybe out there that haven't been using AI already, or maybe they are trying to use another tool than the tool that the company is providing because they haven't got access to it yet. So that's something that we need to keep in mind when it comes to this AI journey that we are all on right now. And of course, and some more statistics here, and that's around like employees start to kind of embrace this a lot, but they get like a pushback from the management or the leadership. And is that due to the cost of AI? Is that due to the cost of Copilot or the cost of other tools that are AI tools like ChatGPT, for instance, because the cost for ChatGPT and Copilot is quite so similar? Or are there other reasons to why the leaders are kind of lacking when it comes to starting and implementing AI in the different organizations? So, Ian, what do you see like from the UK perspective? Because I'm from Norway, so I do know work here, but in the UK, like how are AI there? Like, do you see organizations already starting to use it, or are they still like a little bit on the fence?
Yeah, we're seeing it more in the larger organisations. So the smaller organisations, a lot of the organisations that we tend to more deal with in the UK aren't really ready for it yet. They haven't really got a plan in place. They're not really sure about how secure their data is, and they worry about AI finding out information that people have currently got access to, but don't realize they have access to it. So there's that security worry. And also, when Microsoft launched Copilot, it was only available to purchase as an annual license. So that's quite a big amount of money to pay out up front when they're not really sure what benefits they're going to receive. Now, as Copilot's been, as these services have been around a bit longer, we're starting to see people understand more the benefits they're going to get. And as we move into the new financial year, quite a few clients are already saying in next year's budget, we're looking at Copilot, we're going to start implementing, or other forms of AI, agents within the business.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great insights, because yes, the cost of an AI solution is quite significant, so the fact that, as you mentioned before, Copilot was all for like a lot of yeah, you had to have like 300 licenses of it. Like most companies in Norway didn't even have 300 employees, so it was kind of void by fault in there in a sense. So it's good to see that these things are changing, of course. And you also mentioned like around security aspect, like a lot of people was also scared that, hey, if you start to use AI, it's kind of scary. We can get the AI can get access to stuff that it shouldn't get access to and all that kind of stuff. And that's also like what could be different between, like, for instance, the different AI tools out there, that they also treat security and so on in a different way, in a sense. So I think that's something that we all should be aware of as well, because 97% of executives believes that gender AI would have a positive impact on the business, which is like tremendously high number in a sense. But then why we don't see more people using it could be an interesting question, or why we still see that shadow AI, that or shadow IT or shadow usage of stuff that we kind of saw before, where we saw that 75% of the people using AI tools is using a tool that is not approved in a sense by their IT organization in the company. So, and of course, we see here also high price, as you just mentioned as well, Ian, as one of the reasons to maybe why people are not yet on board with the AI solution. And honestly saying, like, from a Microsoft 365 perspective, it hasn't been around for very long. And we all know that when Microsoft releases things, they are releasing it in a very early stage to get kind of feedback from the masses of people using it. So it also has to mature a lot. And of course, we do know that that is what's going on right now. But it's also great to have different type of alternatives from the market as well. Then of course, there are a lot of growth, as we can see as well, which is great, because there are like a lot of money to be made here in a sense for all of us, in a sense. People that comes in and advise customers like you guys are doing at Adepteq, and of course companies like Mozzaik, which is also building solutions around the AI to kind of help fill the gaps where the Microsoft stories might not be strong enough or good enough for everyone, basically, or maybe they are too expensive as well. Um, but again, as I see, one of the biggest challenges when it comes to any type of AI solution is the governance around it, it's the security and compliance around it, and of course, like, how will all this works? Like, for instance, you need to have a strategy internally in your organization so that you make sure that you don't have a lot of AI agents that do the same job in a sense. Because, for instance, if you look into Copilot, you mentioned already, like, or like, for instance, agents that you can create in SharePoint, it's very easy for everyone to create one. So how can we guarantee that the same agent is not represented multiple times in the organization, or how we can make sure that if a person that creates an agent doesn't take the agent with them basically when they leave the company, so that kind of all the knowledge around that agent and all the permissions and the control of that agent are staying in the company. So I think one of the biggest challenges actually around all this AI is governance moving forward. Like, what are your thoughts about that, Ian?
Yeah, very much so, which why, we don't encourage anyone to just deploy AI without doing some groundwork beforehand to understand what needs to be controlled, what data is, who has got access to what data, and put some just basic practices into place so the users then understand effectively what they can and can't do.
Great. And then, of course, the reason why AI are kind of the buzzword or the popular word these days are, of course, that you can boost your own productivity with integrated AI. I see a lot of people now are starting to talk about AI as your personal assistant, basically, because in a sense, it shouldn't replace you as an employee. It should just help you to do your task more productively, in the sense. And here we have some examples of tasks that we can have the AI to do for us, which is, of course, to create some content, can research content for us. Because, of course, like with the large language model and all that the AI is using, of course, it's a much better and faster to kind of also go and find a lot of information, look at the information, and then come up with some suggestion based on that information. It will take me as a person a lot of time to do the same. Like, for instance, let's say that I should go and check some resumes of some people to hire in an organization, for instance. That's a great task for AI in a sense, because you can just point it to all the different CVs that you have got, and then you can ask the AI to compare them basically based on some metrics. So it's a great task for AI, and of course there are multiple other ones. And of course, anticipate, I think, is maybe the one that I have the most a wish to have more of when it comes to the future, so that, for instance, the AI can come and tell me, Knut, you have a meeting in 1 hour. This is what you need to prepare for that meeting, and so on. Like that, I think is where AI can still excel quite a lot to help me to be more prepared for all the meetings or the webinars that I'm holding, basically. But with that being said, let's talk a little bit about Microsoft and Copilot, because yes, we had ChatGPT before Copilot came, but I think like the really big boost for AI came when Microsoft launched Copilot last year. And of course, Copilot has gone through a huge transformation since then, and added more and more features into it as well. But of course, we need to separate two different Copilots, because there are more, but let's just focus on the two right now, which is the Copilot for Microsoft 365, which is the licensed version of Copilot, and then the Copilot Chat, which is kind of the free version, which everybody that has a Microsoft license or even an Outlook email address can kind of use, or you can even go in and use it without the license. But of course, it will not be able to gather information from your email or Teams or that matter, unless you will have the Copilot for Microsoft 365 license, which is, how much does it cost in pounds, like the Copilot license?
I think it's just under £300 a year. It is now available in with an annual commitment that you purchase on a monthly basis, and we do a cost comparison further on in the deck.
Yeah. Great. Now people are getting excited when we'll see some prices. So that's good. Price comparison is always important. But yeah, so this is kind of what Copilot is all about. And of course here, Microsoft have rebranded like this multiple times, but now the free version is called Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat. And with that being said, let's try to play a video and see how that works.
The biggest impact of getting Copilot is to increase the productivity and the creativity of their employees.
Sales can use it to create emails, marketing can use it for content, and operational we can use to deliver even better customer service for our clients.
It went from probably about 2 to 3 hours to create a brief to down to an hour.
We can use the prompts to ask what are the action items and who is responsible for those, then proceed with the next steps.
It has increased motivation, it has increased engagement and joy of work. It has enabled us to make better decisions and definitely enabled us to have competitive advantage.
Great. So that was the Copilot, a little bit overview, because maybe you haven't checked out Copilot yet, or maybe you're not aware of what Copilot can do. So that was like a great video from Microsoft on what Copilot can do, basically. With Copilot, you also have something called Copilot Studio, which is something where you can go in and create your own co-pilots or co-agents in a sense. So I just think, like, from a perspective of what we're going to show you later, Mozzaik Genius, I think it's great to kind of also name drop Copilot Studio here, since it's kind of an alternative to what Mozzaik is offering. So the big difference between Copilot Studio and just the Copilot that you can use as ready as it is, basically, is that, of course, with Copilot Studio, you can connect with a lot of different endpoints, and you can also narrow down what you're kind of grounding the data around. So that means that you can get more and better answers in a sense. But of course, everything comes at a price. And of course, you need to, again, if you want to use Copilot Studio, you need to either go with the pay-as-you-go option, or you need to go with the message packs that Microsoft is offering. And when it comes to the messaging here, it's you might think that one prompt would cost you like $0.001, but it's not. It's like that could cost you like maybe one prompt could maybe cost you like 10 messages, or maybe 30 messages even, because all of those things are a little bit diffuse, I would like to say, or a little bit complicated from the Microsoft perspective into what they are kind of, how they're pricing it. But to find out about that pricing, this is not the webinar for that, but I just wanted to highlight it and mention it, that it's a little bit confusing in a sense to how much you actually going to pay for it. And then, of course, as Gartner is saying here, it's like 33% of enterprise software application will include agentic AI in 2028, up from 1% in 2024, which is, of course, a huge difference. But I think the main reason behind that is, of course, we all want to not need to do the boring tasks at work, but to do the more exciting, the more thinking tasks at work. So, of course, to have an agent or a genius to help us with doing the job we need to do is, of course, always going to be preferable in a sense. So with that being said, let's jump into the alternative to the Microsoft way, to Copilot Studio, to Copilot with the Microsoft 365 app integrations, or with the kind of the Copilot in the browser alternative, like the Copilot M365 chat. Let's talk about the Mozzaik Genius, which is a totally new alternative that we launched last year in Mozzaik, and we're excited to kind of show here now together with Adepteq as one of the first partners that we're actually showing this with, which is really amazing. And before anything more, I would actually want to play a video so everybody can get an idea about what Genius can do for your business. All right, so we are back. So I hope that was exciting, and probably it was thinking, hey, but that is just Copilot, but it's not. It's just AI basically. So it's like an AI chatbot in a sense where you can go and use this interface or the UI to kind of go and get help to build that stuff that you want to build in your environment basically. So. So I will just speed step the video a little bit, but yeah. So what is Genius all about? In a sense, it's an AI system to help you maximize your productivity. The great thing about this one is that, for instance, not everyone will be allowed to create it again, so you get it more control over all the different Genius agents that is out there. So you will not have like the dual one or the triple one. Since everyone can more or less create an agent in SharePoint, you can personalize it. So you can give it a name basically. So as you can see here on the image, we have one called the Oliver, which is the AI bot. We have a Mary from accounting and Trevor from IT support. So you kind of get more that kind of personal feeling that you're talking with a colleague and not just like an AI bot in a sense. It's 100% secure because it's still interact with all of the sensitivity that you have in the organization. So it doesn't do any kind of things that it's not already in your environment, same as with the Microsoft Copilot. And of course, you can access it just as with any other AI agent, more or less, or like Copilot. You can access it from Teams and SharePoint, for instance, and also soon from the browser. As you can see here, I think one of the really core concept of Genius is the way that you can actually deploy and tailor your own AI, basically. And you get also access to a lot of more AI tools than just the ChatGPT, as I will mention a little bit later as well. So again, you can make sure that you get the best answer that you can from the AI. Much more refined, much more accurate than what you can get from Copilot today, actually. And you can also connect it with all the different third-party tools. So for instance, you can go and connect it with ServiceNow, Salesforce, all of this kind of stuff, if you or Zendesk for that matter. So you can go and actually tailor make it for every business requirement that you have, basically. And you will do it with the control from the IT department, basically, and so that not everyone can go in and create their own agent, which I think is one of the key aspects here. 100% controlled. And as I mentioned before, it's 100% integrated inside of Microsoft Teams. You get like a contextual accuracy, as I mentioned before, which answers based on your internal data, but it's tailored to the business. And of course, the core concept here is if you're interested in Genius, what I would recommend you to do is to contact Ian and Adepteq so that they can come and do a proof of concept with you basically on Genius to kind of make sure that you will see how great it will be for you to get return on the investment on basically going in and doing an AI investment, basically, because I think that is the best way to actually show the power of Genius is to be able to do that kind of proof of concept. And we have been doing that in Mozzaik for some customers already. And of course, that is the core of it, to kind of come in and prove to you as a customer, hey, it works. Genius works, and you can get a better experience than what you can get with other AI tools out there as well. And as you can see, we can integrate with Mistral AI, OpenAI, Gemini, and so on. And Ian, yeah, if you have some comments, feel free to.
Yeah, sorry, I was just going to say there that this is where Genius trumps Microsoft in a way, because Microsoft currently do not offer any trials for Copilot. So the only way to obtain Copilot and try Copilot is by purchasing it, and then you're committed to purchasing it for a year. So it's very difficult for people to dip their toes in the water and test something with Copilot without making a financial commitment. So this is one of the things we like about Genius, is the fact that we can set up these proof of concepts for you.
Yeah, and also of course, like when you do an AI commitment, it's not for one user; it has to be for multiple users in the organization. So it's not only like £27 or whatever a month. Basically, it will be a much bigger investment that you'll have to do, basically. So just as Ian mentioned, this is a really great opportunity to test things out with Genius. And as you can see from the comparison here, like Copilot will cost you 23.10 ish pounds per month, depending on today's euro to pounds conversion rate. While Genius, on the other hand, will cost you like 420 user per month. And you can see from what we can do here, we can do all of the same things as you have from the Copilot perspective. The only thing that you don't get from Genius is that you don't get it inside of Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Teams, because we don't own those products that Microsoft does. But if you are okay with working with the AI outside of those applications, then you will get an amazing experience when it comes to Genius. And just some numbers to give you to go. I see we have a few minutes left. I also want to show you a quick demo. So we might run a few minutes over time, but just imagining that you will save 30 minutes a day, basically by using generative AI. Only that will really quickly give you a return of that investment on like less than £5 per user per month, basically. And of course, when it comes to creativity, typically AI also help you to be more creative, because sometimes it can be difficult to figure out like good topics or good name of a post here and there and so on. So for instance, that's where also AI can come in and give really snappy headliners, basically, for instance. And of course, you can focus then efforts on higher value added tasks, which I think like the 85% on refocus, the impact is really, really important when it comes to why should we even considering doing a proof of concept, for instance, on Genius is just that. And by doing a proof of concept together with Adepteq, then we will really easily see all of those return on investments here. And you might wondering, why didn't we do this before, in a sense? But you didn't have Genius before, and it was like a really high investment that you had to do with Copilot. While here you don't need to kind of come in and say that we are in it for 1 year. If you can do that proof of concept to make sure that basically you will see that return on investment. But now let's jump really quickly for me to share my screen. And then I just need to stop the presentation here. So let's see if I can be able to do that. Yes. And then share my screen. We'll share this one just to give you some examples of how Mozzaik Genius can help you. So for instance, here you see we have the Genius. I have different agents here, basically. So I have the Genius in English. I have it also in French, as you can see on the top. I have here a content master. I have an HR assistant, a translator, and a corrector, basically. And of course, here we can build and tailor exactly the agents that you want for your from your business requirements, so that you will get it really, really that return on investment. But let's just now ask, what's an AI agent to our Genius? So now we see that we have our AI agent here. I can then go and do in the content master, as well as also copy this one that we had here. So let's do it again. What's an AI agent? So we see we get that response quickly. We can go and copy it as well, as we are used to from other platforms. And then, of course, we can go and also ask our content master here as well to help me draft the LinkedIn post. So now you see that it also can help us to do exactly that. All those things that will, at least me as a Microsoft MVP, it will help me a lot, so I can kind of spend less time. And of course, I could here have giving it instructions to make that post based on what an AI agent is all about, for instance. And then, of course, we can go in and use the other AI agent here, the corrector, for making sure that spellings and all that kind of stuff is in a good place here. Or we can also go in and translate this post if we want with the translator, for instance. But here, I think the key that we all need to think about is every business is different. So every business has different type of requirements. They have different things that they need AI to come in and help them with. And this is the genius thing about Genius, is that we can help you to tailor those. We can help you to make all of those different AI agents with the help of Genius, basically, and give them different identities in a sense. So I think that is actually the key when it comes to all of this. And of course, if I go to my HR master here, I can also ask, like, clarify the company charter, like tell me more about Mozzaik365 in a sense. So here we get that information as well that we are used to from an intranet perspective that we find on our intranet pages, but here it's all coming into our AI agent. Or I can also go and ask it, provide me an overview of the organizational chart of Mozzaik365. And of course, here we can, of course, go in and also come up with all those suggestions, as you can see, because as you can see, if I scroll a little bit higher up here, you will see that we have all these suggestions, or we can go and do a new one. Then you see we have here the suggestions that are basically those questions that we expect our employees to ask. And of course, here we can modify those during, because we will see like what are the things that most asked, for instance, in the AI and so on. And then we can tailor make this interface here so that we will get those questions directly there, so that nobody even need to type a prompt to get the results that we want. So that was kind of like just a super quick, like 3 minutes intro to what Genius is all about. As I mentioned before, like if you are interested in knowing more about what Genius can do, I would suggest that the best thing you can do is to get a proof of concept delivered from Adepteq, get a more in-depth demo from Adepteq or myself together with Ian from Adepteq, so that we can basically help you to build all of these things in your organization. Because what Genius is all about is precise answers adapted to your needs, basically. And as you can see, it's hosted in your Azure environment as a customer. So it's GDPR compliant, and also Mozzaik is certified on ISO 27001, which I think is important as well to be aware of. And it's super cost effective. As we saw, it was for £20 or so, or like equal €5 user a month, plus the Azure OpenAI cost. That is not that high, but it depends on what grounding model we will use. With that being said, let's see if there are any questions for us today, Ian.
There's nothing in the chat and the Q&A at the moment, so it means you've done such a good job, Knut, that no one has any specific questions to ask. So by all means, if you do think of anything after the event or when the video comes out to you, by all means, please ping me an email there. My email address is on the screen, and the direct phone number for the office as well. So it'll be great to set up any of these proof of concepts with you and go through the options for your AI, because it isn't just one story. So, you know, Microsoft have a great offering. I use Copilot for 365. I use it every day. It does save me money. It is really helpful, but it is quite expensive, and it's not something you're likely to provide everybody in your organization. And where Knut says about the fact that Genius doesn't work with Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, that's the key people. The key people that are creating content in those environments, Copilot is the best tool for them. But if you've got people that need to find out information or need to do posts and things like that, or find out key information within the company to use in their role, then Genius is a much better low-cost method of doing that than providing people with Copilot licenses where you're not really going to get the full value out of them.
Yeah, and I think that's a great final word, Ian, because Copilot and Genius can also work beautiful alongside with each other. One doesn't break the other, or one doesn't compete with the other. They just complement each other. So thank you everyone for joining. Yep. And really reach out to Ian on the contact details, as you can see here, if you're interested in a deep dive or into a proof of concept delivered from Adepteq when it comes to Genius. And then thank you, Ian, for taking the time and being here together with me, and thank you everyone that joined. And feel free to reach out to us, and wish everyone a great day.
Thanks very much. Bye.